So, hello and welcome back to my videos. So, as I promised, I will be making another video today. As I said, I was already feeling like this. So, I feel like these videos probably are gonna be just sort of popping up because it seems that I really am enjoying, talking to the camera and knowing that people are actually watching me and saying kind things, sharing their content, also sharing my content, and that there is, loving and kind people, and many surprises to me that people are actually liking what I'm doing, which I find really nice, really gratifying, and overall I'm feeling pretty blessed. So I feel like I'm a little bit more peaceful now because I was able to handle my storage problem which I was having. I had to upload my stuff into computer, put my videos together, and then make it all into like one big video. Because I'm not the person who likes to, crop like videos into like preferred sentences of like what I'm gonna do or whatever, because I feel like it's just draining. I can offer a lot more content when I can talk honestly, and the content itself also is a lot more honest and genuine, however way it is, the genuinity of the moment. So I'm not like trying to judge anything or like anybody, or having a time of not judging myself also, to be honest, because I can get critical, but mostly I can get critical of myself. I don't really get critical of other people. I just sort of love humanity the way it is. I love the way humanity works, and I love the way humanity is accepting me in its way of being. I mean, I've been living a strange life my whole life. Like, strange in my character, strange in my life choices. Just sort of is. I feel like, I mean, I could talk about astrology for a long time, but I sort of feel like it could be like a little bit too draining for me. I don't know what reason it is, but I mean, I've been watching the planets a lot, and I would just like to sort of like mention or point like to myself, like a discovery that I made was like the fact that the planet Pluto, which is like a really interesting planet, like a highly transformational one, the planet Pluto was entering into Capricorn, which is my astrological sign. Like, I think it was about when I was 12 or something, if I remember correctly. And it's soon about to leave Capricorn. And I think it's next year when it's leaving Capricorn, something like this. Well, anyway, it's been there for like a long time, like 14 years or something like this. 13, 14, I'm not too sure. But I feel like, because it's been floating through my own sign, and there's been like a lot of interesting and strange stuff happening in the Capricorn sign, which can, make Capricorn's life a little bit difficult, because to be Capricorn itself, I mean, it can be highly advantageous in like society and in like the way that we are seeing the world, like sort of like walking like slowly and very dedicated. And I mean, I've been very dedicated with my whole of my life with anything that I basically wrap my mind around and feel like it's like the really thing to do. Like, I constantly like see into the future and see what is the actual thing that I need to be doing, that I want to be doing, and then I put my whole energy inside it and like go like full professional in it. Like, I can put so many hard working hours, like I used to do like arts like this, or the way I learned to play guitar. I mean, I was always like, at the top of the class, at the top of my teacher, and so on. And I took it for granted because I felt like it's like natural. When you want to do something, you put your everything inside it. And this is the way how, the most logical and the best way to work. So I just like developed like immense amount of like focus of like doing things. Well, anyway, to go to the Pluto, then I feel like I would actually like to say like a little bit of words about it. And I feel like the Pluto planet especially has been in my own life, like because it got there when I was like a young teenager, like a highly transformational one. Because whenever I am, asked about like when did I want to go traveling and all of these ideas, and I've been traveling for 4 years now, for those of you who do not know it, um, then I remember that I had this big idea of going like on a travel, like a real like quest of like out to the nowhere, without the idea of coming ever back, and just sort of offering myself to the universe in that sense. And I feel like I had this idea like from my early teenager, and my life has been like really chaotic in a way that I've gone through like immense amount of like sufferings and stuff, but I sort of always had like this big constant idea that I really need to go and really go like on like a mission, or like a hero's journey type of a thing, or like just sort of allow myself to be like really open, and to just sort of offer myself to universe. Basically, this is the way that I mean it. And I mean, I've always been like very much into like style, like changing my hair a lot, changing my clothes a lot. Like I used to have a period when I was like a total like punk rock human, and a period when I was like really much into like hippie stuff, and like different things. But I feel like it actually got like into the place where it needed to be 4 years ago when I started my traveling. And I did it with one of my friends who we just randomly met on like a song festival, like in like a bog in Estonia, like this type of like a free flowing hippie festival, like old Estonian folk songs and things like this. And then like a few days later we were like had our bags packed, and we met again, and we decided we go traveling together. It was also his first time going out and about, and I remember very clearly that the very rule or agreement that I wanted to make, because I had difficult relationships, and like my own acts of like giving too much out to the partner or to the person I was together with. So I felt like I will never ever want to put myself back into this situation. And so we made the agreement that whenever we feel like our ways would like to go apart, then this is the way we are going to do it. Whoever one of us feels it that you or me, that we want to continue separately, then whatever time this happens, we allow it to happen. And I feel like this was the best decision that I made, because it gave like a really nice starting to like my own like life, which I consider to be like an actual spiritual life, like a freedom based life, in a way that I'm actually living it. I'm living to my highest purpose as much as I can, and I'm meeting so many things that are coming like from the world back to me. And I feel like it's like a journey that I cannot change in a way that is it's sort of like just happening, and it's like one of those things that gets you really into it. And another thing that I feel is like, because I don't want this thing to actually go into like some sort of emotional direction, but I would actually like to be rather rational about my life right now. Then when I'm thinking about like Pluto and how Pluto will be going to Aquarius very soon, then I'm also trying to, really like focus on like grasping the energy of it and the flow of it, and to do it in order to keep it going, because I'm actually really enjoying the way that I have sort of culminated my so many ways of living. And I also feel like the heaviness of the planet Pluto from Capricorn is like actually pretty feelably going away, and it makes me so much more, open, like so much more like seeing like possibilities, seeing like different ways, and making myself feel that I'm actually really, really grateful for being as young as I am, and also that I have done like so much time, that I put so much time to meditation and to spiritual practices, that I feel like the stuff that I have created there is like just coming back to me. Like I feel like the world is just offering to me, like a lot of the times it is just really, really offering. And I mean, I put also a lot of my own energy into like sustaining and being like actually really, grateful and as helpful as I can to the people who are helping me. Like when I've done like a lot of hitchhiking, I feel like this is like, I mean, you can see it in a way of like getting better in communication with strangers and trusting the world and all of these things. But what I'm actually feeling or thinking about it is the fact that that when I go to the car, I actually want to offer a human being who is in the car, like, driving the car, I actually want to offer them like a genuine experience of like what is possible. And like every time when I'm hitchhiking, I'm like in the next to the road, and I'm just like, trying to gather my energy as high and as positive and as sincere and honest as I possibly can, so that when I'm inside the car, I want to fill the car with like my whole spirit, like like I just want to, make the person like really happy, to like offer them like a good memory of, or like make, even like friends, because usually it's the place where you are with somebody for some amount of time, and usually you don't meet these people again. And I feel like it doesn't matter if I meet a person again or not, but it's like, you can only ever have the best conversations with strangers, and the more you have them, the more you realize it. Because the more you see that whenever you are contacting a stranger, you are doing it so much more from an unconditioned place, and not so much from a place where you are conditioning. Like, for example, conditioning your own friend into like being in a certain way that you have sort of known or felt as they are, but then you are like really taking into consideration the fact that you are meeting these people like for a reason, and that reason is actually something higher than yourself. And I feel like this is really, really beautiful. And I sort of feel like, whenever I'm traveling, I meet a lot of kind people, like so many good people. And with some of them, I really want to stay in contact with. And with some of them, I like want to stay in contact with, like even more. But at the same time, I'm feeling like, when I'm out and about, like so much of my energy goes into like just, you know, absorbing the world inside me and feeling what it is all like, and just like, talking to people, seeing how stuff is happening, like when I'm meditating on a street corner and I see like the stuff in front of me wherever I am, then I'm not looking for a human contact. I'm just sort of worshipping the world. And I know that I'm offering to the world even when I'm like quiet or silent, or even when I'm in my like retreat or hermit mode or whatever it is that I sometimes go into. Although I feel like my own self is like constantly actually looking for and desiring and wanting like a permanent community where to live in. But I haven't really found it right now. I've been living in communities, and I've been living in them for like longer term, and I've also lived like in like smaller term communities, and like many different types of, which I all really really love the way that I have ended up there. Like for example, I used to live in a Buddhist monastery for 1 year, and I've lived like in a hippie community where we went only into like dumpster diving. Like we ended up like surviving a whole winter, like 3 months of it, like only with like the so-called trash food that the shops are throwing away into the bin, which is actually nice and very very good, but the shops are just not allowed to sell it. And we were every day or every evening we were going to the dumpsters, just taking the food and cooking out of it. And we got loads of cool stuff like veggies and bananas. We made like a lot of banana ice cream, put like bunch of bananas inside the refrigerator into the deep cold place. And then sometimes we found like loads of pizzas or candies, or even like normal things like headphones. We found like pretty many cool things, and it was really nice. We found also bread and a lot of like pastries and stuff. So, and I also found it like really really easy, because we didn't have to use basically not like any money except like our rental, which was like really really low. So we could just live joyfully, live nicely, and we didn't have to think about these things like, oh, going to the shop or whatever. We just went into the place that is actually good for the environment too. Like I never want to think about what the thing is that I'm gonna eat. I would rather not eat anything at all, or like just sort of figure some way out this nasty business of trying to keep your body alive through the organic matter. And I guess this might also be the like somehow connected with the way that the world is feeding me, just feeding me. I don't know how or why. Most of the people just sort of, I really cannot explain. It has happened in like thousands and millions of ways, like how just people want to share their generosity and kindness. And I feel like it's a lot to do with like the karma that we're carrying, and probably also with the karma of the universe itself, like the way it works, the way it likes to offer certain people certain lessons and challenges. And I always like to think of it like when you get like a life lesson, that you will get the same lesson again and again and again until you learn from it, and then you might get like something else. Maybe not even like a lesson. I mean, when I take in again that fact that, you know, I can see like a world in like structured ways or whatever, like I want to say the word Capricorn again, but I've been thinking about it so much that I feel like when I'm talking about it, then even my thoughts are saying like, God damn, you have to like, you know, rest a little bit from like one subject or whatever. But actually I feel like it's not a bad thing. Like, because Capricorn is, you know, ruled by Saturn. Saturn is a lot to do with karma and time, and I guess it's also related to the fact that I can see the world as like a lifelong thing. Whenever I'm making decisions, I'm trying to put my whole life inside it, like, and then I'm creating patterns around it and seeing where my decisions are actually taking me, so that I can actually live as skillfully as I can and as, you know, happily as I can. And I find it pretty important, but I also feel like in many places the world wants me to be learning that there are so many places where I can let go. Although I'm living like a total street life and have been living like a really, you know, so-called like a low life of like being open and not making like too many dedications and just sort of, you know, got into it that I cannot get out of it because I cannot put myself into like less advantageous position than the way that I am. Or like, I mean, it's a bad sentence, but I hope that you are getting what I mean. So anyway, I feel like, you know, the world is just beautiful place. And right now it's autumn, and it's not so cold. It's a bit windy and a little bit cold. But I really am getting into like, cause last week it was really really warm, and then it was like really nice. But now it's a bit colder and windier, and I feel like I'm getting into a nice routine of moving my body a lot, like doing a lot of yoga and stretching and running, instead of thinking about how miserable things are or how miserable they can be. Because I have been staying in these states like also like thousands of hours, or like thinking or like feeling that, you know, there is no way out of one thing or another. And you would think that, you know, I've been meditating like many years, and I've done like, you know, very long meditations, and I'm generally like pretty meditative and peaceful human being. I've always been like this, also because I was, you know, pretty sensitive when I was young, and always wanted everybody to feel well and to be happy, even if I myself was not feeling too good. And even, you know, because meditation is like a lot about letting go, but I'm also seeing that when I let go of everything, this is also the place where the universe wants to, like, you know, teach me like a little bit of like what is inside me, and, you know, the place where it's manifesting it wherever it wants, basically. So when I let everything out of myself, then I'm ended up as pretty empty, and I know that the stuff that I have been meditating on is manifesting somewhere in the world, and a lot of the times it likes to show itself to me, and then I'm just sort of, laughing at like what form is it showing itself to me right now. And then I am like, grateful because I see that it is highly in contact with myself and with the way that I think about stuff and I feel stuff. And it's also offering me like new ways. It's like expanding my consciousness and the consciousness of like humanity. Because I know that I can also be very easily in connection with people who are on the other side of the planet, which is also very nice. Because I wouldn't always like to be in contact with the people who are here and now. I would like to be in contact with the people who, really are doing similar things that I am doing and who are really into, like, taking the things for themselves, like, because when I really meditate on something, I start to care about it. And I would, if it kind of manifests in my own life, because one condition or another is a little bit different and I would like it to be, then it can manifest somewhere else, and I would like it to manifest somewhere else. Because I know it's like, getting the best conditions for its manifestation that it possibly can. And I feel it's beautiful, but it can also make me like really, really sad. And in these senses, I'm just sort of numb. I'm like feeling like completely sad, like just pure honesty, like sad. I feel like the feeling of sadness is like something I have glorified my whole life, just because through the sadness, and there's like a car passing by, so I'm letting it pass by. Because through the sadness of the world, I can see like so much of the beauty and the meaning of the world, and I feel like my own character has like a lot to do with being sad, and not in a bad way, but in a way that makes life beautiful and worth of living. And from the sadness, I go really, really easily into gratitude, into happiness, into like just feeling joy. And a lot of the times, like most of the times, I'm feeling just grateful for being alive, whatever it is that I'm feeling and whatever it is that is going on. I'm just grateful that I can exist in this world the way that I am, and in the way that that the world still allows me to be alive, like allows me to exist, and really, really supports the way that I'm living. Like just it's felt, and it's nice, and it's good, and it wouldn't be able to happen if I wasn't grateful, or if I wasn't manifesting the things that I am doing. It's like I'm actually really hoping that somebody will get what I'm saying, because it's the topics that I cannot always discuss with humans, because humans don't always understand it. They are having their materialistic views and many other things. But I've been living in a Buddhist monastery for a year and learning a lot about like Buddhist things, like Buddhist teachings, and letting go, and like done like a lot of meditation there. And after that I've like gone like even deeper into it, and I feel like it's something that's really, really nice to carry with myself, and to also with other beings, to like just I feel like I will never ever go like into the way that I see like so-called like a householder life, or like having like a job or something like this. I mean, I can do work here and there, and this is beautiful too. I can do basically anything, but I don't want to do something where I'm supposed to suffer, because most of the places where I feel like the so-called work or job is offered in today's society is something that is highly incompatible with my way of being. It has to be like my own invention of a work. And in that case, the most rational or logical thing that comes to my mind is to just go and live in a community which is supporting like similar values with me. And I have like loads of imagination and stuff in my head about it, what it would look like, what it would like possibly be like, what could it be, and how to realize it. But there is just so many ideas that I can have, but the only way to find this thing that might like be like a permanent living place, the only way to do it for me is to travel around and to go into places which are as highly compatible with me as I possibly can be, which means that I just love humanity, and I love to read people. I love to see what is inside people and to like perceive them, like just to see what they're like, and I can get usually like an instant understanding, like if we are like very heavily connected in some way, or if I would like to establish like a certain connection that would be lasting, or like if we have like similar views of like what do we actually want and how much do we see it as a priority. And because the people who are in my life like really dear to me are the ones that are actually really putting like similar important things like on the first place as I am doing. And I feel like it's like prioritization that is important, that one doesn't fall victim to whatever is happening. And basically it's also to do with like how old is your own being, how long have you been on like earth, how many times have you like reincarnated, and basically how open you are, because you can be really anybody, you can really be anybody, but you just have to be happy with the way you are and find yourself like a good way of living. And usually the good way of living is like communal harmony. This is the way that I am seeing it and have always been seeing it. And I feel like the world needs to be reminded of it as well. I mean, I haven't actually seen like a lot of fighting in my life, but I'm highly sensitive to it, and I always, when I go to places, then I want to make it as harmonizing as possible, just sort of going like from higher lower level, like different levels, like to another level, and going through the world, the universe, in a way that it is as close to like being unified as possible, but not in a like disgusting way unified, but in a way that is understandable for everybody. And this is also one of the reasons why I have been a lot of time alone, just to gather myself up, because I feel like the work that people like me are doing can be like highly draining, and a lot of people might not even see it as a work at all.
Remember the days Edson used to work there? Oh shit.
And yeah, I've been talking quite a long time now, and to be honest, most of the time I've been just enjoying the bushes that are behind me, and trying to sort of, well, it's really nice when I get into the mood of talking and go on for a long time. And I also feel like previously I was talking about the moon a little bit, and when I think about it, it's like tomorrow morning, or depending on the time when this video gets posted, and anyway, in the morning there will be the Virgo arising, and that's the place where the new moon will take place. So I just sort of want everything to be very appropriate, or like very, very nice. And I also, you know, because my mother used to say that when I was born, I learned to talk very, very early, and that I was like creating complete, full, nice sentences when I was very young. And I was like highly joyous and had like a peculiar type of humor. So this is the way that I was born. And I like to contemplate about these things. Not to, make myself into like a big human being or create my ego out of it. But I mean, I don't really believe into egos anymore at all, to be honest. It's like something stupid that people have come up with. But what I feel like it's like the more we know about things, like from our experience and from the stuff that we have met in the universe and in our life, what has happened to us, and also what we have offered to the world, and so on. Like the more we know, the more we contemplate about it, the more meaningful things get, and the more we are together with our higher understanding, as well as being able to communicate it to the world outside and to offer other people like similar experiences of like understanding their own capacity, or like offering whoever we are, offering ourselves in like a genuine way, as genuine as we can be. And I feel it is actually pretty important. It's highly important to be true with yourself, to be true with the world around you. And no, I don't have anything blue around my eye. It's only a shadow. I haven't been kicked or anything. Don't worry about this. It's just a little windy evening, and it's a bit dark. But I made a promise to talk more, and I'm doing it. And I'm actually even a little bit surprised of like what I'm talking about. And I feel there is like many strange subjects to come, because I feel like I've been contemplating so much that I can basically take like any subject that I feel I want to talk about and create it into like a bigger topic. So maybe it's a good idea to do it like this, like to find like a general flow of what this channel is about. And I mean, I used to think about it. I sometimes think about it, but the more I think about it, the less I feel like doing it. So the less I think about it, the more I am actually doing it and letting it flow the way it likes to flow. And what else comes to mind? Whenever I think about YouTube channels, then I remember that one person somewhere, probably in the YouTube world, was saying that, whenever you want to make like a channel into YouTube, then it doesn't matter how many views you have or whatever is, basically how many views or comments or followers you have. But what matters is that even when one person is liking your content, like genuinely loving the stuff that you're doing, then even then it is worth doing, just putting yourself out there. And if there's like one single person who actually loves you for the stuff that you're doing, then it is, it's all worth it, and it's worth continuing. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm doing here is just because I feel sort of like a feeling, like a duty of doing it. And I feel like I'd really like to, put my life out there to share it with the world. Because when I only do it with a stranger who I meet every now and there, or like, the friends that I have. And I don't know where the separation of a friend or a stranger goes right now, because it's all, human beings, and we are all worthy of life, and we all have to understand it, that every human life is worth of living. Then it's like whatever I'm doing is nice when it's, in like a history, in a way. It's like another sad thought, maybe, and maybe not. Maybe when I do it, maybe it's not that sad at all. Maybe it's just the nighttime that is sort of feeling like a little bit sad. And I feel like the quality of this thing is also maybe not so good when it's a nighttime. I don't really know. So I actually feel like talking for a long, long time. But I also see that 40 minutes is pretty a lot. It's like my longest video now. So I kind of also feel like, ending it and just sort of calling it like something like, I don't know, deeper genuine thoughts or something, because I feel like my mind got like totally floaty, and I started to talk about just like my life or whatever it is that I try to call my life here. Um, and I'm also thinking of like what's, going on in the city. I'm gonna have like a nice walk and see what's up. Like if there's, somebody interesting to talk to, or if there's just some interesting scenery somewhere. And I mean, I still have the funny food that I got from this kind guy. And it's my third day of cleansing. This was just a guy who was offering me like food, and I took it, although I thought I'm gonna do like 7 days without food. And I still have it. I don't know what's inside because I haven't opened the box. But it's, smelling pretty nice, and it's pretty heavy when I carry it. So there's probably something big and good. And I still don't know if I wanna like, eat it, or like if I would feel like guilty for eating it, because I thought I'd do like 7 days without it. But I mean, I'm not feeling hungry or anything. I just sort of want to worship like somebody's kind act that they were doing. It's like that type of a thing. And then I feel like, it was for purpose, because I really don't like when people throw away food. Or maybe I don't know, maybe I find somebody to give it to. But I don't know, I'm kind of like, I haven't made a decision basically. I think I have to really force myself to, because when I decide to eat it, then it's like, I'm not doing anything, because I just don't feel like it. My own inner being is saying that it's totally fine when I eat it. It's not like something bad will happen, It's like I'm fully in tune with the world the way it is. And then I can eat it and, do more cleansing whenever I want to, or like continue with my cleansing, or however I see it. And I also feel like, when I'm not eating it, then maybe I would be even like more troubled, because I was offered it like so kindly, and it's like so good and normal food, and it's so nice when people do such things. It's like really, really nice. So maybe I would feel like even more troubled when I didn't eat it. And then I would have to, find ways to think about something else, and to just sort of feel like if it's even worth doing my cleansing when the universe just so gladly likes me to have something like really, really good. Like really, really, really good. So this is my thought right now. And Yeah, to be honest, I actually do feel like I'm gonna, have it. To be even more honest. And feel grateful for what the world has done and is still doing. Because cleansing is supposed to be cleansing. And this is just like a note to myself, saying to myself that I have to be kind with myself. And when my inner feeling is strongly saying into one direction, then I shouldn't make myself into suffer into another direction. So, however much I like these resolutions to be made, I also like it when the world is intruding and making it all nicely chaotic, making it all, basically making myself go like a little bit, out of my usual, you know, way of doing something. But even though I don't know what my usual is, it keeps on changing. I just have like a clarity of as if I had something like habitual or usual that I'm doing. What I would actually like would be like a guitar and to play for the community, to play for the people who are living here and to sing. But I don't have guitar and that's it because I just don't have it. Many things that I could want and I don't have them. But I have other things. So, yeah, I actually wanna end this video and probably see what is inside the box. And if I think that I still wanna do my cleansing, then I will probably continue it. But if I just sort of say it honestly, then I'm not trying to put my body into like, what can you survive type of a thing, because I know my body can survive a lot of things. But I feel like my spiritual beingness or my spiritual connectionness or connectivity is so much more saying that whenever it's saying something to me, like, just to like, look behind my back or to go into certain place or whatever it is saying, it's been saying so many goddamn things that it is so much more important often the times, like putting something else before me as something more important than my own, ideas of something. It's like I feel like my thoughts are already going into like blabbering because I've been talking quite a long time for this channel. I haven't been used to talking to camera for such a length, but I'm like, also enjoying it, and I feel like I actually like that I'm also making like this type of a content. So I'm feeling that I hope that the new moon will be great, that it will be actually good, and whatever comes with it will be, beneficial and good. And I also think that I probably have like a lot of astrological content coming up. And like, just mixing it together with like universe and spirituality, human life and the stuff that I'm doing in the world and just like my life and how it's going and just to not take it all for too granted, but to actually, like talk about what it is like to live life like I'm living. And yeah, because for me this is so-called normal, but for many people this is extreme. This is like totally extreme way of living. So yeah, I'm trying to say goodbye now. I think I've been trying to say it like 6 or 7 minutes now. But anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this video, that you got like a little bit of enlightenment out of it, like just about, whatever might have been enlightening to you. And if you liked it, then feel free to subscribe and offer a like, offer a nice comment, or just write to me in like Facebook or Instagram if you wanna have like better contact, or you just wanna have like a chat or something. Then I'm usually pretty open to people and happy to talk about stuff. And if we are in the same area, then probably also see you and meet you, however I came up with that. um and if you want, you can also support me with like a donation or like a nice prayer. I really like prayers. Or if you need me to pray for somebody, then also you are welcome to ask me to pray for somebody, because I can also do this thing for you if you wish to. It makes me usually pretty grateful to pray for somebody and to feel and know that they are getting better. So yeah, this is basically it. And I hope that you will have a beautiful night, and that everything will be well until we see next time. So bye bye.